Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about a massive change coming up with ALEO mining, or proving I should say. You're going to have to start staking in order to be a prover or miner. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the differences and why, if you're considering getting any ALEO hardware, any ASICs, you may want to back up until we get more clarity here because this ain't looking too good, okay? If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So, huge change coming up. It's coming up extremely quick, honestly, almost too quick, and there's still not a lot of clarity here. Okay, so specifically, let's just read the tweet from Whalepool. Currently, there's two ways to get ALEO tokens, proof of stake and proof of work. This is where it's a little bit different and why we're going to talk about the confusion with it. We're going to refer to it as mining just for simplicity's sake. Just understand that we are actually proving. We're proving zero knowledge proofs, and that's what it is. We do refer to it as mining. Just understand it's a difference between like consensus mining, which is typical mining, and proving, which is zero knowledge ZKPs. Okay. So starting August 1st, which is again, it's in a few weeks, POW miners must stake a certain amount of ALEO tokens to continue mining. POW miners should prepare for possible ALEO token staking requirements in advance. Okay, and what's referencing here is that this ARC did pass. It is happening, and it's happening almost too quick. Okay, so we're going to look at this quick little chart. The just standouts, the extreme amount that's required to stake per epoch. Okay, so this is not going to be per individual. So if you have a little AE0, you don't have to stake 100,000 coins in order to mine. This is going to be up to the pool. Okay, so just understand though that they haven't fully decided what they're going to do here yet, how they're going to implement this. We're going to have to wait and see the actual qualifications, right? Like, is it going to be, Whalepool did a little survey, like is it going to be something where it's going to most likely be based off of your local hash rate? So obviously the more hash you have, the more you're probably going to have to stake. So we're going to have to really wait and see. So again, if you're on the fence, you've been kind of thinking about it, hold off until we get full clarity here, because it is kind of on the extreme side, and especially how fast it's going to increase, right? So you can see here on the activation month, it's going to be 100,000. It's going to be required, stake required per solution per epoch. And 3 months later, it goes up to 250,000. 3 months later, 500. And you can see the crazy progression over time. Okay, so this is going to be something that is fairly difficult. Hopefully it does get postponed. Again, this is really fast for these pools to kind of come up with the whole system, with the whole solution. They should have given them at least a few months to kind of like build a model to see what's going to work. Because at this point, it seems like they don't even know how they're going to play this. Okay. So let's look at the ARC. This is where I'm just not a fan, right? So they're going to go through and talk about like why they did it. In reality, you can tell what it is, right? There's a few comments here regarding essentially, and it's an issue we've been having with a lot of these newer networks, and it's them just not liking miners, or in this case, provers, essentially dumping their coins. Okay, again, this is a very hot topic. Tokenomics is something that all of these projects have been having very tough times with. Okay, and in a sense, this is their resolution to that. They're going to talk about based on security, etc., etc. You can 100% tell that it's not, right? What we have seen with ALEO is this constant price drop, and this is just a supposed answer for them to do something about it, right? Is it really going to do anything about it? It's going to centralize things even more, even though they're talking about what it's going to do. Let's go through the details real quick. So when will the staking requirement for approvers begin? This is a little bit outdated. It's saying summer 2025. We now have the date of August 1st. All right, FAQ number 2. The amount of ALEO credits required to stake feels unfair and or excessive. I agree 100%. Why are these amounts chosen? The candid answer is that some participants sell their earned ALEO credits after they have been rewarded, and some pools have been known to facilitate the sale of ALEO credits after they have been distributed. So, for example, pools that give you the option to earn something else in exchange. We've seen it with some of the pools where instead of earning this coin, you can earn that coin, and essentially they're just dumping it, and in place for that, We see it commonly with people switching to BTC or USDT, etc., etc. And we also just see it typically with miners as a whole, right? Typically, some people will do it on a schedule, some people do it on the daily, and it's just power requirements, okay? And this is the issue that we've had. Again, we've had this discussion with many, many different networks, and it's still something that a lot of them can't come to terms with. I kind of disagree with this sentiment because at the end of the day, a big part of the reason that we're even here, typically we're here for consensus. In this case again, it's different because we're proving, right? But at the end of the day, it's a way to fairly distribute coins. And it's up to that individual what they decide to do with those coins, whether it's to sell, whether it's to hodl, whatever it may be, that is their choice. A lot of these projects, though, do have an issue with miners constantly dumping, adding consistent sell pressure. And again, to me, that's more of a tokenomics issue. It's really, it's a hard topic, right? I definitely see the argument on both sides. But at the end of the day, change the reward structure. If you feel it's affecting the price of the token too much, reduce the amount of overall rewards. Do something. Like, these are the things that should have been thought way ahead of time. Okay, maybe have more incentives for people to hodl. It's a tough one. It is definitely a tough one, and we have definitely seen, because again, we've had the discussion with many coins, not just pure mining coins, deep in coins, even with proof of stake coins, right? If you guys remember, Solana did try to have that change to change the inflation rate, and we have seen that with a lot of others, just because of the same reasoning, right? They want people to stop dumping, they want to lower the inflation. In this case, it's different because this is an extreme hybrid, right? It's proof of stake / proof of work / a VC coin. So it's not just the miners dumping, right? Think of all the investors, think of all the unlocks, think of the proof of stake side, think of the validators, right? They're blaming it all on the miners or the provers when that's not necessarily the case, right? We've seen their tokenomics. It's some of the worst in the game. We'll talk about it here in a second, but this to me is just not a fan. All right, so let's keep reading. If the participants kept their earned rewards, they would have adequate tokens to begin participating in POSW with this new proposal. As an early ecosystem, it is imperative to prioritize participants with adequate resources to support and contribute back to the network, while disincentivizing participants who wish to take advantage of a growing ecosystem. So us dumping coins in order to pay the electric cost for this hardware, to try to recuperate costs for this hardware, is us taking advantage of a growing ecosystem. And again, we've seen this type of sentiment with many other projects. And where have they gone? Straight down. Okay, and I see both sides though, because again, it is definitely going to affect token price, especially depending on how many coins are in circulation. But again, if there's a reason for me to participate in the network, do something with those coins, then we will do something with those coins. Again, there's not a whole lot of anything going on the ALEO network as a whole. Okay, again, to me, this is a way to fairly distribute coins, whether people sell them to the exchanges so now other people can invest. Like, it's a complicated ecosystem, and I get the frustration, but like for me, for example, they're blaming it 100% on the provers when in reality it's a combination of everything, right? A good key to look into this is look at the circulating supply versus the total supply. Number one, there is no max supply, so they can keep printing this thing fucking forever. It's one thing if it was a fixed max supply, then things are a little bit different, but the fact that they can just continue to print into infinity, not a fan of that. And if you look at what's circulating versus the total supply, it's only a quarter of that is actually circulating, meaning a lot of these are locked up. Again, I think the lockup period for like investors, everything that I found initially was 12 months or that 1 year. Okay, at this point, it is pretty difficult to look for the unlock period. I tried digging in. Again, a lot of them you can go on Coin CMC is actually pretty good for that. You can do a quick Google search, try to look at the tokenomics, try to look for a true unlock schedule so you can see on the daily what's happening. Pretty difficult for ALEO. They're doing a pretty good job of covering it up, although I'm sure it is out there. If any of you guys are aware, if any of you guys are able to find, like, do they have monthly unlocks, how it's going to work when everything goes through, please post in the comments just to give us some guidance. But just looking at the phrasing of this specific part, you can tell that this whole resolution was based solely on provers dumping their coins, right? As we look down, again, is just implying other things. The other big issue for me is that, number one, it's going to lower the amount of decentralization. Okay, meaning it's just going to become more centralized. At this point, these pools are going to have to put up a good amount of staking. Again, they're going to have to stake these coins. How they're going to do it, it's going to be up to that pool. My guess is most likely they're going to have a staking requirement based on your hash rate, right? So if you have little AE0, maybe you're going to have to stake 2,000 coins or whatever it may be. But again, because of this aggressive increase, I mean, it's going to be X amount now, but again, every 3 months it continues to go up, right? So again, this is going to be very difficult for these pools. Okay, so the first thing right off the bat, these top 4 pools are probably going to be the only ones that remain. Okay, there is already not that many pools, period, but you can guarantee all these others, they're going to be out of here, right? So this is going to make it so not anybody can just spin up a pool. This is going to be extremely even more centralized, right? And it's already a very centralized chain. Again, as far as validators go, they have been adding more. It is now up to 31, but in reality, even that's not a whole lot, right? So if you want to talk about security and decentralization, I mean, this is definitely going against that, right? So everybody's going to have their own argument and opinion on that. Regardless, for me, it's not even something that for me is going to be worth looking into more at this point. I've seen enough. I've read enough. This, for me, it's a wrap. I disagree wholeheartedly with what they're doing here. Not a fan of this at all whatsoever. Is it going to improve anything? Honestly, probably not. Maybe in the short term it will, because again, that's going to lead to these pools having to buy some in order to have whatever allotment comes in. And then as far as us who want to continue to mine, we're also going to have to buy some, just depending on what the requirement is going to be, which at this time we don't know yet. And it's literally going to be up to these pools to decide how they're going to do it, how they're going to implement it, what the requirements are going to be. Are they going to just cover it up front? Are they going to just have this staked? Probably not. Are they going to loan some out to you? Like, it's hard to say. Like, are they going to just take out some of your rewards from it? It's really hard to say, like, how they're actually going to play this, okay? So any of you guys who do have an AE0 or any of these other little ALEO ASICs, you're going to want to pay attention, because these next few weeks are going to be crucial. August 1st, again, it's going to change, okay? So we'll keep you guys updated. We'll see what specifically. I'm on Whalepool, so that's where my interest is going to be. How they're going to play this thing. What are they going to do about it? How are they going to implement it? And what are we going to do with ALEO, right? At this point, it's almost like we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see the amount we're going to have to put in. But again, if it's over that amount, like especially if it's drastically over the amount that I've already mined, probably going to be out, right? At this point, do I have any interest in buying any ALEO ASIC at this point? Again, the little bit of interest I had would be with the larger ASICs. At this point, though, with this thing implementing, zero interest in ALEO at all whatsoever. Okay, so for me, it's that simple. As soon as something is misaligned with what I value, what I see, then for me, I'm out, right? And this is definitely one of those things, right? So definitely frustrating. Definitely another one to add to the shit list, but we're going to have to wait and see how these pools are going to go about this. It's tricky, bro. So we'll keep you updated. May not do another video regarding it until we get clarity. May just do posts, but you're going to see it. I'm sure you're going to see whatever pool you're on. So far, it's only Whalepool I've seen it mention it at all. But understand this is coming. Will it get delayed? Potentially, because again, this is going to have a pretty drastic change on everything. And again, they're not really giving the pools enough time to do what they got to do. Okay, so let me know in the comments though, guys. What do you guys think? Who do you think this thing is targeting? Do you think their motivation really is security and all this stuff? Or is it to stop the provers, which aren't the only ones dumping? Again, this is my biggest issue with it, is that it's also the people with unlocks, VC money, the people who are coming in early, the proof of stake side, could be validators. Yet they're essentially blaming the provers here, right? Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys see something similar? Do you really think it's for this, or do you think that's what it is? Do you think they're trying to correct the price? Because again, we've seen the price action, which has not been great. Let me know in the comments, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I am out.